Hello and welcome back to our Breakthrough Club program. My name is Saher Ghattas, founder and CEO of Flawless Inbound. Today, I have a very special guest. But before I introduce the guest, I just want to remind the audience, why did we create the Breakthrough Club program? We want to make sure that we're all learning as leaders here. Either we are Canadian leaders, US leaders, or international leaders. We're responsible for our company, for our community, and for our market. So my mission is to interview founders and CEOs that I know they're bringing a difference through their company, through their culture, their team, and their community. And it's with great honor and pleasure to introduce Nishaant, co-founder and CEO of EnergyX. Nishaant, welcome to our program.
Hi, Sahar. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So first of all, we want the audience to know more about you. So can you tell us more about your background? I heard rumors that you were not from Canada originally, so want to hear more about that. And also, we want to know more about EnergyX. What do you guys do?
Yeah, for sure. And before I start, I want to actually thank you for hosting programs like this. It's great to have other entrepreneurs have a podium and a platform to talk about what we do and hopefully influence others, other would-be entrepreneurs or other entrepreneurs who are out there who are looking to take their company to the next level of growth. So kudos for you for running programs like this. And again, thank you for having me. And I really like to start an introduction of myself by talking about the different roles I play and why those are important to me. So first and foremost, I'm a dad. I have 3 crazy, loving kids, all of them under 8, an 8-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 3-year-old. And just the process of getting them to grow, getting them to, seeing them grow and getting them to come on their own is a beautiful journey for me to experience. In the same token, I'm also a co-founder, the CEO of EnergyX. We're a fast-growing technology startup. We've got 2 offices, Toronto and Halifax. We work with around 16 utilities all across North America. And what we do is we empower their customers, which are homes and businesses, to become really energy efficient. My third role is I'm also the spouse to an entrepreneur. And my wife is running her own social impact startup. And being part of her journey as she grows her business and as she goes through the growth stages and the pitfalls of running a business is a journey in itself. And so it's in these 4 roles, father, spouse, entrepreneur, and business partner, that I focus on having the most impact that I can. On a personal front, and you are right, I am not originally from Canada. I was born in India. I left when I was very young and I grew up in Dubai. And then studied and worked all across Canada. Started off in Halifax, East Coast, Toronto, and then in Calgary on the West Coast. And then ended up getting relocated and spending 6 years of my life in Amsterdam.
Oh, wow.
And again, all across the Netherlands. So Amsterdam, Rotterdam, The Hague, Zoetermeer, Utrecht, and then we ended up living in Leiden. That's where I met my wife, had 2 of my 3 kids in the Netherlands, met my business partner. We were actually working together at a company in the Netherlands, and then ended up relocating back to Toronto and starting EnergyX.
Wow, that's an amazing background. And I can just imagine the conversation that happens on the dinner table between you and your spouse, because I can see it already. 2 entrepreneurs kind of brainstorming and troubleshooting on the dinner table, but I think it's exciting for sure.
You know, it's interesting you say that, because I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. My dad was an entrepreneur, and you know, when you grow up in Dubai, it's truly very much an entrepreneurial city. The amount of commerce, the amount of opportunities are boundless. And so, you know, that was lunch table conversations for us growing up, you know, and hearing my dad's stories and being fortunate enough to go on a number of client meetings with him. Dubai, the business culture in Dubai is very international. And so, you know, growing up with that and now really having that in my household, where my wife and I have very similar conversations, and seeing my kids weigh in on it and listen to it and talk about it with them as they grow up is a fantastic journey. Wow. Right? The conversations we have with our kids now is not about what you want to be when you grow up. It's about what problem do you want to solve when you grow up. Mm-hmm. And as I'm sure you know, and all the others know, we talk in terms of problems and opportunities. And then we talk in terms of what are the pain points we're seeing in our industry and how can we start alleviating those pain points and deriving opportunity from those pain points. And so, yeah, for sure, it's interesting conversation to us. Others may a fly on the wall may say, why are they talking about business all the time? But it's at least what drives us as a
That's
family.
very true, and I'm glad that you have the family side also as a fundamental component in your life, because balance is very critical, and we know that sometimes as entrepreneurs that sometimes we forget about balance, and I appreciate that you brought this into the conversation. I also appreciate your expertise in Dubai, because I lived there for 5 years. So I appreciate the culture there as well. It give you a different view on the other side of the planet, so that then when you come back to Canada as an entrepreneur, you actually can truly see a global view. And what I'm hearing from what you're saying is that you spend a lot of time in Europe as well. And so you got exposed to different cultures in doing business. So that brings a lot of, I think, value when you're kind of leading and coaching your team to do things inside of EnergyX. So
yeah, rightly said. And
sorry, go ahead.
Rightly said. Where I was going with that is you hit on two key points that I thought we should address. Firstly is on the team side. So if I look at EnergyX from a team perspective, there's 25 coworkers spread across 2 offices. And if I look at just the diversity we have in our team, not only in terms of gender, but also in terms of nationality and ethnicity. I mean, we've got so many different cultures represented, and perhaps that's a reflection of Toronto as a whole, because the bulk of our team is based in Toronto, and Toronto is indeed very multicultural. But I also like to think it's a reflection of the leadership of the team and the fact that we really value diversity. We value strength in diversity. We value the opinions in diversity. And so I think my experiences living abroad and working internationally and being surrounded by different cultures growing up has really now translated into the kind of team that we have, which is indeed very international and diverse. But then on the second aspect of it is another really important point you mentioned, which is, taking that diversity that we have and really taking it as a strength and really accelerating that opportunity that comes with it. And so, I think the diversity part of it is important. If you look at our business model, it's a global problem that we're solving. We're solving a problem of energy efficiency. We're solving of helping homes and businesses lower energy usage, become more carbon neutral. We're really helping to tackle climate change at an enterprise utility level. These are global problems as well. Again, it's not segregated to a specific geographical region. So we're seeing diversity and the global aspect of our business, not only within the team that we have, but also in terms of the problem that we're solving.
Amazing. Thank you for bringing this up. So now I would like us to go a little bit deeper and speak more about EnergyX. So tell me more about EnergyX. How are you guys adding value to utility companies and, more importantly, to consumers?
Yeah, for sure. So I think it's good to go back on the reason of our being. What's our mission? Why do we do what we do before really getting into what we do? The mission that we have at EnergyX is to provide every building around the world with a very relevant and personalized energy savings plan that can take these buildings towards action and towards adopting energy efficiency measures. So in a nutshell, we make energy decisions easy. And we're always pushing the dial on the technology and innovation to help us live and breathe this mission. We started the company based on 3 fundamental truths that we believe in. The first truth that we believe in is that energy efficiency and conservation is the most important and effective way for us to meet our climate change goals. The second truth we believe in is when you empower homes and businesses with information about their building, they're more likely to take action, make smart decisions, and adopt energy efficiency measures. And the third truth we believe in is by digitizing the entire customer experience and by running energy efficiency programs, utilities around the world can become a trusted advisor to their customers. And they can start providing value above and beyond commodity and keep their customers sticky. And it's really in these 3 truth fundamentals that we've built EnergyX. Now, my co-founder and I, as I mentioned earlier, had the opportunity to meet in Europe. We met in the Netherlands, and we had a chance to work together within the energy retail space. So we really had a good working relationship, and we always had the idea and the concept that we would create a company that would be focused on energy efficiency. And so fast forward those conversations to when I was relocated back to Toronto, and ended up buying a home like many people around the world do, and we bought a home in Mississauga. And I recall one day receiving a very high hydro bill, like again many of us do. And so I called my local utility at that time, and I asked them what I could do to lower that bill. What could I do to save energy? And the person I spoke to at the utility asked me three questions. First question they asked me was if I had conventional light bulbs, to which I replied, I do not. I only have LED lights, because I was quite informed about what I could do from an appliance perspective to lower my energy costs. The second question they asked me was, do I have Energy Star appliances? And again, I said, yes, all my appliances are Energy Star energy saving appliances. And the last question they asked me was if I use the most of my electricity in the evenings or in the late nights during off-peak hours, so doing my washing and doing my laundry and all of that stuff. To which I said, yes, I do, because I understand the difference between off-peak and on-peak, and we usually use our heavy appliances when it's off-peak. And the recommendation I got after answering those questions was I should just use less energy. And that's the point when I realized, my utility doesn't really have a lot of data about my home. They don't understand how I'm currently using energy. And the advice to me is just to use less energy, was not the advice I was looking for. And, and then that took us back to the discussion my co-founder and I were having with regards to really seeing if we could build a platform to solve this problem that homeowners have. And that takes me back to the pain points, right? What is the problem that EnergyX solves? And we solve it in two levels. From a customer level, we know customers, and myself included, are looking to lower our energy bills. We're looking to save money, and we're looking for programs, incentives, rebates that allow us to do that. On a utility level, we know utilities around the world are running energy efficiency programs because they are mandated to do so. The challenge they have is these programs are not cost effective. They're very expensive. Certain utilities spend more than $1,000 per program participant. They're not very well marketed. They're not really well, spread out to their customer base. And they're not very successful because of that. And the platform we've built at EnergyX really addresses that. We help utilities manage and automate the entire energy efficiency program. We help them virtually audit their entire customer base so they have information about their customers' buildings. They're able to then hone in and figure out which customers would be the most ripe for the programs that they're running. We then digitize that experience and help them reach out to their customers on a digital platform. So homes and businesses can go online, enter additional information about their building, and then be connected to the relevant rebates and programs that they qualify for. And then we manage the entire workflow processing for the utility so that customers can get all the retrofits, get all the rebates, get all the incentives in a very seamless, cost-effective level and achieve the savings they're looking for and be educated about them. And at the same time, utilities are now able to run these programs successfully and in a very cost-effective manner. So we've bridged the problem. We've bridged utilities and their customers together using technology. And that's really what's allowed us to grow the company and be successful to date.
Wow, this is very impressive. Just to hear how you're explaining the vision, how you exceeded on the vision. I can see the story of a triple win here, Nishaant. Very, very, very clear to me that I can see the value you're adding to the consumer, who's me and you. Really, we face this each day, and you're empowering the utility bill to actually add value to their existing clients, which is great for the utility bill company because now the utility companies, because now they're really serving their client and showing value, which then means the client will stay longer with them, which is great. And then, of course, adding value to the community and being a kind of a green in a way, and global efficiency, I think, comes in place afterwards. So that's like I can see the entrepreneurship inside of you where you face the problem as a consumer and said, hey, I want to fix this problem. I want to take the risk and let's make it better for everyone on this planet. So I really appreciate that you're taking the time explaining to me and the audience today what EnergyX can do. A couple of questions there. You mentioned you've been working with almost 16 utility companies. Is it like this platform that you guys build, is it only related to Canadian utility companies or can it be North American?
Oh, no, it's global. It's global. So actually a majority of the utilities we work with are in the US.
Oh, wow.
I would say 70% of our utilities are US utilities. And that's not by, that's just the way it's rolled, shaped out for us. And we're now starting to work with a global utility in Europe as well. So we're now making a headway and forum into Europe, which is great because that's really where my co-founder and I started our love affair with energy efficiency, if you can call it that, right? So it's a global problem. The platform can be licensed by any utility that is running an energy efficiency program. And as I mentioned, most utilities around the world are running energy efficiency programs. And it can be licensed by any utility that really wants to digitize that experience with their customer. And I would say all utilities, especially given this current post-COVID world, understand the importance of digitizing that customer experience and why that becomes so important and so relevant. And so, we would work with utilities around the world and we started off in Canada, obviously, and then we moved into the US, and there's still a lot of utilities around the US and Canada that we can continue to work with. But at the same time, we're now starting to see some traction in Europe as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. And since you brought COVID and the new word that we'll be leaning into, especially our interview is kind of October of 2020. So I'll ask you now, as the leader of the organization, if you can share with the audience maybe some of the big challenges you guys maybe faced during the last 90 days to 180 days, and how you guys overcome it.
Yeah, of course. Well, as an entrepreneur, as I'm sure you know, you're facing challenges all the time, right? It's a luxury. It's a luxury position to have because with every challenge comes opportunity. And if you can look at it in that way, I think it can really drive your business. COVID was definitely a big challenge for us, as it was for, I think, businesses around the world. And so, when we were hit with COVID, the first decision we made as a company, as a leadership team, my co-founder and I, was that we were going to keep the team whole. That was a spiritual decision for us. That was a very fundamental decision for us because then everything we did after that was with the mindset that we were going to keep the team whole. Letting any one of our team members go was never wasn't even on the table. It wasn't even a choice. And so you then start looking at, once you made that decision, you want to keep the team whole. What are the challenges that come with that? And we saw three main challenges that came with that. The first and foremost was understanding what was going on with the clients around us, right? Because if you want to keep the team whole, you've got to make sure that you've got enough revenues coming in. And as a startup, we're a very high growth startup. So obviously we're growing very fast, which means we've got expenses that continue to increase, and those can be offset by the revenues we bring in. And so you first look at what's going around you. And we found that a lot of the utility clients we work with, like other industries, were really delaying their buying cycles because everyone was in a holding pattern. So we were lucky because utilities generally tend to be recession proof, right? At the end of the day, everyone is still going to require hydro, it's going to require electricity, it's going to require gas. However, because of COVID and because of the uncertainty, we knew that buying decisions, at least when it came to technology platforms like ours, were going to be delayed. And so then we had to really go back and understand what does that mean for us from a sales cycle and from a runway perspective. And so that was the first challenge. And the way we addressed that challenge was learning as a team, as an organization, that we needed to still continue to work with utilities and sell our platform, but we couldn't do that on a face-to-face level anymore. We had to understand what it was like to learn in a virtual setting, how to earn trust, how to earn empathy in a virtual setting. And to be fair, we were able to do that. We then started understanding what it took to close deals virtually, and we ended up started licensing our platform to a number of utilities in a virtual setting. I think we had our first deal ever since we started EnergyX in Energy New England, where we closed that utility on a licensing deal, and we hadn't met them in person. It was all done virtually.
No,
and once we were able to, yeah, no face to face, which was incredible.
Wow.
Incredible in a very conservative industry, right? But once you're able to, innovation, necessity is the mother of all innovation, right? And this was a necessity for all parties concerned. But again, energy efficiency programs were not going away. They were still there. And so once we got over that hurdle, it gave us the confidence to know that, all right, even though buying cycles are getting deferred and getting delayed, we know we can still get deals in. And so start forecasting your expenses accordingly. So that takes you to the next challenge. How do you maximize runway? How do you really lower your expenses, right? And we did two things here. We went through our expenses in a very fine-tooth comb. We decided to cut any expenses that were not critical to the company. Again, with the mindset that the team was going to stay whole and we weren't going to make any cuts there. Then we started looking at all the government supports and the subsidies that were available to fast-growing startups like ourselves. So we set up a separate task force within our team that really focused on understanding what was available for us from a grant, from a subsidy perspective, what government programs we qualified for. And we made sure we were on top of that and we did qualify for those programs so we could really leverage all the support the government was giving tech companies like ours that were facing these deferred sales cycles. Now, the other advantage we had going for us was rent, because we had a space downtown Toronto and a space downtown Halifax that was much more of a co-working space, which a lot of tech companies have been doing of late. We were able to really defer that rent. And so we didn't have to worry about those rent costs because everyone was working virtually. So that allowed us to save money. So again, making that decision that we're going to keep the team whole, looking at deferred buying cycles and learning how to sell in a virtual setting and close deals virtually, and then really maximizing our runway by lowering our expenses, and then also understanding how we could take advantage of all the government subsidies and the government grants available to us, allowed us to really get see the light at the end of the tunnel and knew that we could see this through. And then the last thing we had to do was making sure that we were set up for remote work. Now, as a tech company, you're already way ahead because we were, but understanding the fact that even though everyone's working remotely, people have different challenges. I have 3 little kids that I'm dealing with while I'm working. My co-founder has 4 little kids that he's dealing with while he's working. But then we had other members of our team that had no kids and were facing the exact opposite. While I was looking to get away and get some peace and isolation, they were looking to get in front of people because they were only around peace and isolation, right? So understanding those challenges and understanding what remote work meant for everybody. And once we got through that hurdle, it was hiring in this environment. We just brought on our first co-worker in our office in Halifax that I have never met. That was the first time EnergyX hired someone without having a face-to-face meeting. So now we're not only closing deals and bringing on utility customers without face-to-face meetings, we're starting to bring on co-workers without face-to-face meetings. And so, if I could outline that, we started with the decision that the team was going to be whole. We looked at the first challenge, which is understanding new sales cycles and really meeting that challenge and solving it. We looked at the second challenge, which was really cutting down unnecessary expenses. Again, looking at rent, looking at the fact that we weren't traveling as much anymore. So those expenses were down, and that gave us a little bit of breathing room. Took advantage of all the government programs out there for tech companies like us during this phase. Understanding that cash is king and cash always stays king. So really taking solace in that and making sure that we did have enough cash to sustain us through. And then the last was making sure that everyone was set up to work in a virtual environment and everyone could thrive in a virtual environment.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for summarizing that and actually putting them in a very logical process. I appreciate, I can see the full process from the beginning. And of course, one of the key things as a leader, you really needed to make sure that culture is intact, not intact, influence in a good way. You don't want to break the culture. And I can see how you guys were thinking about that because you know that not everybody is like you as a leader and you need to kind of adjust to their environment. So you said maybe some people didn't have kids, others they do have kids. Some people want to stay with the group. Some others will want to get some isolation. Now, did you guys use a lot of video then in your weekly?
All the time, all the time. And so Sahar, that you really hit the nail on the head in terms of the culture. In a startup that is high growth, I think culture is everything, because we're very mission driven, and we work very long hours, and we're very focused on living and breathing that mission. And when you get a group of coworkers that share that same mission and belief with you, you've got to do everything you can to keep them whole and keep them together. And so, yes, keeping that culture intact and seeing that culture actually grow through the decision we made, which is everyone stays together and we're going to do whatever it takes to keep the team together. I think it really allowed everyone to become even more loyal to the cause, even more loyal to the company. And it really brought us closer. But to answer your question, yeah, we really transitioned into video, and everything we do now is on video. And so you get to see people's homes. You get to see people's families. We get to see our clients' homes and our clients' families, which I think is very endearing. And that's been one good thing about it, right? I think it's disarming when you can talk to people in their home setting, and when you can see their kids in the background, and it just gives you a whole sense of reality and empathy. And, the downside to that though, and we've heard this now, is there's no more work-life balance, because it's all fused together. And I think that's the challenge of it, right? No longer can you now go to the office and then leave the office and come home and focus on your personal life. The office sort of becomes your home. And so your work hours get extended because you're trying to do all these chores in between. And I think that's the downside to this. And we're trying to figure out as an organization what that means and how to deal with that. I think as most people are. But for sure, I think video is important because it allows you to transcend into somebody else's space.
Totally.
In a very non-intrusive way.
And you know what, Nishaant, like you brought a very good point about the downtime. And as a leader, when you're really on the treadmill 24/7, it's so critical for you to unplug, re-energize for you, so that then you can give more energy to your team. So I'm glad you brought this up as well. Especially, clearly you have an amazing culture, and everybody of your team, 25 team members, are really putting their heart day in and day out to kind of build a platform and add value to utility company and their clients. So clearly, of course, it shows how the team is connected, and why sometimes downtime for them or relaxation or meditation for them is critical. So I think I'm glad I can see that this was part of what you were saying, and I just want to make sure the audience capture what you're saying, because the conversation, I like where the conversation is going, and wow, there's a lot of things we can go into.
Oh yeah, and you mentioned two things that I'm very passionate about. So I think what have I done, and this is what we preach to the choir. I preach to the team all the time, and I'm very big on that. Is I think you've gotta take your time out to reflect on yourself as a person, and to focus on your own growth and your own well-being. And ways I do that, two ways I do that is meditation. I swear by it. I used to meditate every day. I've now pared it down to at least 3 or 4 times a week. And it's extremely important to do in any aspect of it, especially as an entrepreneur, because you really need that time to focus on yourself and your inner being and your inner spirituality. And the second thing that I had done many years ago is we have a 3-car garage, and we converted that into a full-blown designer gym. And, we're there, my wife and I are there first thing in the morning, 5 days a week. And given that all the gyms have been closed during COVID, it's, I think, been one of the best investments we've made. But really that focus on your health, that focus on your mind is so key to this new reality, because you said it well, right? There is no boundary anymore. So you've got to create those boundaries for yourself. Wow. And so these are some of the tactics I've used. And, I always ask my team members to try to do the same as much as they can. So, that's at least what we've done.
That's amazing. I'm learning a lot. I'm taking notes, and it's amazing that.
Well, I'm sure you. What are yours? What are your area? How do you switch off?
So, we were the same thing, Flawless and Bound, founder, co-founders, husband and wife. So kind of, there's a lot of similarities. And one of the things I usually play a lot of martial arts, or was. So I kind of learned meditation through martial arts, and it does help me a lot. Sometimes I go jogging with my son outside and do other things, but it does help me a
Oh,
lot.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's actually very cool, and thank you for sharing again.
You know, that's a great experience. I'd like to do that. My son is 7, and we'll go. I play tennis with my daughter. She's 8, and that's our one-on-one time. My middle son, he's 7, and we've gone jogging a few times. Actually, over the summer, we've gone quite a bit, and I love it. And I can't wait to get to a stage where, um, you know, right now, he's struggling to keep up with me, and I'm sure over time I'll struggle to keep up with him. But I think there's a medium balance there where we can keep up together. And I think once he gets a couple of years older, hopefully, and we'll get to that stage. And I think that's an adventure I'm looking forward to do with all my kids. Just go running with them.
Absolutely, and let me report to you, Nishaant, because my son is in grade 12 and he beats me right now. So I just want to tell you, be ready for that. Be ready for that.
You did well. So you did well. You did your job, right? You did your job.
Exactly. So listen, this is amazing, by the way. This is very free flowing. I love the conversation so far. I'm sure the audience is enjoying this already. I would like you now to take the time machine and travel to the future. And tell me, how do you see EnergyX in the future? What's the vision?
Yeah, awesome question. So let's start by where are we today? So I like to level set. Where are we today and where are we headed and where do we think we're headed, right? So where are we today? So to date, we've won 2 MIT awards for our technology. We've raised around $5 million in dilutive, non-dilutive funding. As I mentioned, we've grown our team to 25 co-workers across 2 offices. We've got multi-year licensing deals with 16 utilities across the US and Canada. Gives us access to 5 million homes that we are empowering to become more energy efficient. Looking to work with a utility in Europe that allows us to start creating impact beyond North America. And we've done this all under the last 4 years, under 4 years. So that's where we stand today. The future for us, our vision, is always going to go back and tie to our mission. And that is really to work with buildings around the world and empower them to become energy efficient. One of the newer products that we've now launched, we call it Retrofit AI. It's a virtual auditing technology. It's built on machine learning and AI algorithms and models. And it truly allows utilities to look at that entire customer base and virtually audit that entire, all of the buildings that they have in their portfolio and create evaluation grade audits at scale. And what this allows utilities to do is to have detailed insight about each of their buildings, about each of their customers, so that they can start connecting with these customers and ensuring that these customers are well segmented into the programs that they're running. And then ensuring that those customers can embark on this journey of energy efficiency. And I'm truly excited about it because what it allows us to do is completely disrupt the entire energy auditing space. It allows us to disrupt the way utilities are bringing customers into energy efficiency programs. And they truly go from a very reactive mode to a proactive mode. What it also allows customers to do, that every customer now will have insights about their building so they can start taking action. So go back to the pain that I felt when I was a customer, where I had no idea how to lower my hydro bill. I had no idea what structural improvements I had to make in my home. And I had to call my utility, who then had no idea. Well, by creating evaluation grade audits about every customer or every building and ensuring that customers have access to that at a very cost-effective way and at scale, allows me as a homeowner now to have those insights at my fingertips. And then I can start making informed decisions about my building and start taking action. And so this is what we're excited about. It fits in with large government initiatives we're seeing across North America and across Europe, which is the promoting deep retrofit opportunities, which will really truly help lower building costs in terms of energy usage and help us achieve our climate change goals. We're seeing big focus on electrification. We're seeing a big focus on decarbonization. And we believe that our retrofit AI technology will allow us to really enable those regulations to be successful. So that's where I see the vision of the company heading. And it's aligned with what we're currently doing. It's just building on it and doing it at a much more larger global scale.
Got it. Got it. That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing this, Nishaant. And if I'm a utility company right now, I just want to know more about this direction. This is on your website, is that correct? Like,
Yeah, it's on our website. We have a lot of thought leadership that we do. We work. I mean, that's one of the reasons why, again, we've really looked at some of the. We work a lot with HubSpot, for example, and what HubSpot has allowed us to do is really take all the content, take all the thought leadership content that we have, and ensure that we can promote that as effectively as possible to all the prospects, to all of our utility clients. Really use our ecosystem and promote this thought leadership out as effectively as possible. And so, yeah, the website's a great way. Our social channels is a great way. Conversations like this is another way that we really like to promote a lot of our content. And we're getting better and better at that. We're getting better at understanding that we have a position that we're taking in the industry. We have success that we've showcased. We have a fundamental problem that we are solving through our tech. And now we're looking at ways in which we can let the world know about it. If anything, just understand that there's tech out here that can help solve those problems.
Beautiful, beautiful. And as a Canadian to a Canadian, I'll say just very proud of you guys. You're doing an amazing job, and looking forward for EnergyX to be really kind of a global execution with the utility companies that are working on your platform in each continent and more. That's kind of what I'm hoping for as well. So I have two final questions for you.
Awesome, thank you, sir.
So the first question is, if you have a superpower, what do you like this superpower to be?
Oh, wow. Maybe I'll start with a quote, and this should hopefully help define it. So one of my favorite quotes of late has been, the definition of hell is on the last day of earth, the person you could have become will meet the person you became.
Huh.
So I'll repeat that again. The definition of hell is on your last day of earth, the person you could have become will meet the person you became. And I think you can take from that quote what you like. What I take from it is that the relentless focus that one must have to live up to their potential and be the best version of ourselves. And so to me, the superpower is really my ability to constantly self-reflect. And again, this is a superpower I wish I had, because I don't believe I'm there yet. It's still a work in progress, and a very rudimentary work in progress. But it's the constant ability for me to self-reflect and the ability for me to improve in the roles that I identified that were important to me: father, husband, entrepreneur, business partner, and leader. Because for me, the fascination always is looking at those who have really achieved or lived up to that potential, and understanding how they were able to do that. I think that's a fantastic superpower to have. So that's one that I think resonates a lot with me.
That's amazing. First time ever for me to hear that. I'm telling you, from this interview, I'm already learning a lot. So thank you for that. And my final question to you is, what's the big takeaway that you want to leave with the audience today for them to at least focus on work on for the next few months?
So I'll give you two.
Okay.
Just because it's a bonus.
It's more value add. I love that.
I'll give you two. There you go. I'll give you two. And they have two stories. And hopefully you'll get the takeaway from those stories. And I hope as an entrepreneur, you really resonate with them. The first one is when you have ham and eggs for breakfast, the chicken is involved, but the pig is committed. So I'll say that again. When you have ham and eggs for breakfast, the chicken is involved, but the pig is committed. And the first takeaway is, if you truly want to be successful in anything you do, be the pig, be committed. It's the hardest thing to do. It's easy to be involved, easier to be involved, but be the pig. And this is something I've shared with all of my coworkers. It's the first question that I asked actually my co-founder when we started working together is, I'm going to be the pig. And I want you to be the pig too, because if you've got two pigs, if you've got two people who are truly committed, you can change the world. But it's a hard thing to do. So that's my first. Ham and eggs for breakfast. Pig is involved. Pig is committed. Chicken is involved. Second story I'll leave with you, and hopefully this will resonate as well. And it's a story about a bird who is standing next to a tree, and next to him is a big bull. And the bird is injured, he's weak, he's unable to fly, and he's looking up at this tree, just wishing he could fly all the way to the top. And the bull looks at him and says, "Listen, if you eat my shit, you'll get this superhuman strength, and you'll be able to fly up on the tree." And the bird doesn't believe the bull, because there's no way I'm going to do that. As time goes by, the bird keeps on wanting to fly to the top of the tree. So he goes, "You know what, I'm going to try it." So he eats a little bit of the shit. And a few hours later, he gets this supernatural strength. He's able to fly to the first branch. And all of a sudden, he's thinking, well, maybe there's something here. Maybe there's something really valid in this. So the next day, he eats a whole bunch of shit. And he flies all the way to the top of the tree. And as he's sitting on the tree, he spreads his wings in glory. And a farmer who's across the field sees this beautiful bird spreading its wings in his glory, takes the gun and shoots the bird down. And the moral of the story is, bullshit will get you to the top, but it won't keep you there. And what I take away from that, again, as an entrepreneur, is it's all about execution.
Wow.
Ideas are great. Ideas may be what you can start with, but if you can't execute, if you can't get the team around you to execute, you're going to fall from the top. So
wow,
those are my two takeaways. Be committed and execute.
Hey, this is amazing. I just want to say one thing, ladies and gentlemen. This was Nishaant, co-founder and CEO of EnergyX. It was a pleasure, really, to speak to you. And like I can tell you, this is one of the few unique interviews I've ever done that I've been connected to the person and kind of really involved in your stories and everything. I personally learned a lot today, and I really appreciate the time. I'm sure the audience will take a lot of value out of this. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate your energy that you brought into the program today. And I'm sure as an amazing leader who you are, your team is having a pleasure to work with you. And the vision was very clear, and you will be successful. I can see it, in your vision, in the execution, and all the stories that you shared with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Saher. Thank you again. And likewise, I'm sure there's a lot I can learn from you, and perhaps now we'll do that off camera. But I truly appreciate the opportunity, and thank you for the support. Thank you for the trust, and good luck with this program. I think it's a fantastic thing that you're doing, and truly the community, and again, personally from EnergyX, we truly appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.